Hello. Now, this is a point I may have made before, but in games such as Vampire especially, it doesn't really matter if the players are at different power levels, especially if they don't do exactly the same thing. I mean, even in D&D, take a healer class, say, and make them twice as effective. This hasn't really changed the balance because none of the others, well, none of the other basic classes can do any healing whatsoever. So if the healing is twice as effective or half as effective, it still means that they're the only healer in the group. This may not be exactly true, but you get the idea. Similarly, in Vampire, especially, where different characters have different abilities and different archetypes, it doesn't really matter if their power level is very different, especially if you can penalize the extremely powerful characters in different ways. For example, I once ran a vampire campaign with a sixth generation vampire in it. Full fledged sixth generation vampire, oodles of blood points per round, and all that. It was compensated in large part by the fact that they were the youngest, the neonatist of them all. They were created by a Methuselah as part of an experiment, and had no clue whatsoever about the world of darkness. They were entirely naive and, of course, had a big target painted on their head for being diablerized. So they were decent in a fight, very decent in a fight, of course, but despite all that, they were more target and an innocent than anything else. And so the other ones who were more aware, had more social disciplines, and realized how the vampire world worked, were at a distinct advantage. And this works quite well. You can just throw different levels of age and ability. It works as a very well if each one is in a different one, like the dominate character, the fighting character, the obfuscate character, maybe the dementation one, maybe the auspex one. Each of them has their own speciality. And as long as you play up, and even maybe the extremely rich one, like Batman in the movie, but if you play up the different aspects and have each one has the time to shine, the opportunity to shine, and each one has the opportunity to be completely incompetent, then this can work quite well. Now, it's a bit more tricky if, say, you have two characters that are just basically doing the same thing and one is a lot stronger. Like take a super fighter and a weaker fighter. But even there, as long as you're playing the personality, so say we have the super fighter, the weaker fighter, the presence dominate, and a few other ones, and they're ambushed by werewolves. Well, as long as there's say two or three werewolves there, then the super fighter is going to focus on the strongest one. The other one is maybe going to be sneaky or focus on the weaker one, or lead the others to safety, or grab them and run them to safety. There's a whole host of things that can happen. Remember, the two fighters are not fighting each other. So as long as there's something to do for each character, and as long as it's quite different, then you can get basically unbalanced groups are not a problem. Similarly, I don't find that unbalanced characters are a problem. If someone is going to min-max their character, fine. I will allow them. Min-max to the max. But bear in mind that you are going to get hit on what you've minimized, as well as being given the opportunity to sort of use what you've maximized. So if you are a unkillable lone wolf, expect that there are going to be times when you're going to have to walk through the party without drawing attention and making small talk, and you're not really going to be able to do that, or at least not going to be able to do it well. So yes, unbalanced characters and unbalanced parties, I find, can work quite well as long as you keep it. This is a collective thing. Each person has to have their opportunity to shine, and they're not directly fighting each other. Anyway, thanks for listening.